information this morning.
All right, we are talking this morning also about possibility of transferring some of these terror suspects from, say, Guantanamo Bay Prison to Miramar again. You know, we've been talking about this for a while, but we're getting closer to making a decision, and Congressman Bilbray is on the phone with us right now. I believe, Brian, you're from the airport. You're about to hop on a plane. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, actually, on the plane and getting ready to take off, Dan, as always. Ready to come home.
All right. Well, good for you, and thank you for talking to us this morning. This obviously is something that is raising a lot of eyebrows, and I know that you're concerned about this. What's the latest?
Well, the latest is a group of us, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Issa, and I have introduced a bill to not allow the use of federal tax money to move these guys into the United States.
Yeah. Brian, what would be
like San Diego?
What would be the threat? Do you think? What would occur? What would happen?
Well, first of all, you're bringing them from one of the most isolated areas of the world, Dan, a peninsula surrounded by three sides by the Caribbean and Cuba on the other, into one of the most urban areas of the world. It also creates a whole vested rights for them. Their Miranda rights weren't read to them. There's a whole new ugly little lawyer suing for every little detail. But the biggest issue is the fact that you don't want to bring these people into anybody's neighborhood, especially onto our military bases. San Diego never agreed to have prisoner of war camps in our community. We always have embraced the military facilities, and that's what we want to guarantee. That relationship does matter between San Diego and the military institutions that we have always been home to.
Well, we did this in World War II. We had those internment camps, didn't we?
We did, but those were separate internment camps, separate away from the military operations. And I think that one of the things here that we're just trying to do is recognize the fact that this is a whole different game if you start moving. It's not as easy to shut down Gitmo as the president thought. And even his own advisor, the top dog, said it would be terrible to move them on to military bases like Miramar. And so we're trying to send a very clear signal that don't even talk about spending money to do this, because we're going to use the power of the purse that the House representatives are required to use during the Constitution to address these issues.
Congressman, let me ask you about the whole issue of torture down in Guantanamo Bay. It's been a big topic on all the cable shows, as you probably know, and they're talking about the waterboarding and some of these memos that have been released and whatnot. What's your position on this whole torture situation or enhanced interrogation, whatever you want to call it?
Well, let me tell you something. We had a situation where you had a known terrorist say, I know something that is going to cause you a lot of problems. And he taunted our investigators, and we actually found that they were going to attack the tallest building in Los Angeles. And I just got to say, I wonder what the reaction would be right now if the public realized that we knew that somebody had the information about an attack on L.A., and we didn't do everything humanly possible to stop the attack. And what happened was they stopped the attack. They could have saved 10,000 Americans. And I think right now, playing Monday morning quarterbacking on these guys, what would be your reaction, Dan, or any American's reaction to the fact that the administration or somebody knew that we were going to be attacked, but we didn't want to basically put this terrorist in an unpleasant situation to be able to get that information? We got the information. We avoided a major attack in Los Angeles.
That's what I understand. Is that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed?
Yeah, and that's exactly. And so this is one of those things of, imagine how many of the members of Congress would be scrambling like heck to damn somebody for not getting that information after the attack happened. And I think this is one of those issues that we just got to understand. We're in a very ugly world, and if they hadn't got the information, who would be having hearings right now about why didn't you make more of an effort to get this information when you knew this guy had this information and he was taunting you with it?
Yeah, you got that right. Hey, very quickly before I let you go, I wanted to ask you about this credit card consumers' bill of rights for credit card companies. How do you feel about that? The card companies charging these 30% interest rates and all these fees and things like that. You know, a lot of people say, look, I know the banks need to make money, but all this money is going into the bank's pocket and not out into the economy where it could actually be doing some good.
Oh, there's a lot of outrage on this so-called bank bailout. That's why I opposed it. But the thing with the credit card, I think the approach that's being taken right now by both Democrats and Republicans on this is reasonable. I think that we need to hold these credit cards companies accountable to some kind of contract, and 45 days notice seems reasonable. We just want to make sure that we don't do an overkill to where good people can't get good credit and bad people are able to hide behind the law rather than addressing it. So I think we can address this. This is something the Democrats and Republicans ought to be working on to protect the consumer.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think I hear the stewardess saying, stow away all of your electronic devices at this point.
Yes, sir. So I have to leave. Even members of Congress have to follow the law.
Even members of Congress. All right, Congressman Brian Bilbray, thanks. You coming home now?
Yes, I am. Be there in 5 hours.
Hey, listen, there's a surf contest in Encinitas. I hope you make it.
I'll be right up.
It's going to be good. Have a good one. See you later. All right, he was being told to stow away his overhead bins and things like that.
Yep, getting on the plane right now, heading to San Diego. And what will the weather hold for him this weekend? A little cooler temperatures.
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Good morning.
Hey, Joe.
Was he really calling in from row 12C on the plane?
Yes, he was.